In this video, I'll be walking through how I got from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. All right, I've already ripped out the carpet, and this is what we're left with. So the goal is to make this look like the stairs. I'm gonna remove this lip here. Hopefully, it's glued in pretty hard. I just pulled out the 3 nails, but I'm gonna remove that. We're gonna lay down some 5mm plywood. We're gonna glue down some 5mm plywood, make a new lip so it's flush there. I'm gonna make a lip for this and paint it black. All right, I have removed the lip here, this rounded over piece. Remove that because with the additional plywood, it's going to be 5mm taller, and I have made a new one. Sanded it. It will slot right in there. Like that, and you can see it's got a little bit of a lip here, so it's not flush with this, it's raised, so it should line up perfectly once the plywood is laid down. Also removed a piece here that was getting in my way that I'll be able to reattach once everything is laid down. Here I am at Lowe's getting this 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of plywood cut. This is 5mm thick and only cost $15. They cut it for free for me. Okay, now we have the plywood cut. I'm working on the nose, or the rounded piece that comes on the edge here. So I'm placing it in where it will go and pushing down. So once this is glued, I want that to be as level as possible. So if you can see, there's a bit of a gap here. So I'm running my pencil along this board so I know how much I should sand this down. So this gap here is no problem because there's going to be quarter round trim piece up to here. So that's okay. I want to make sure this side is buried though, because there will not be trim here. The trim will stop there. So it's a little bowed, but I want to push it down because it's going to be completely flat. Of course, once it's glued, I'm going to be using a construction adhesive on that. And here we go. So a little bit more sanding, and then we'll be ready to glue and weigh everything down. All right, we have the PL400 by Loctite. This is a specific construction adhesive for subfloor. So I'm gonna lay this down and use this guy to sort of spread it so it's even, and I don't have any higher ground or lower grounds. And then we'll lay the plywood down. Also gonna do it for the nose here. So here we go. So there's no real technique to this. I'm just getting the glue out of the tube here and spreading it with this trowel thing. I'm very glad I got 2 tubes for this one ledge because it emptied much quicker than I expected. I'm trying to figure out why it's not coming out here, and then I realized, oh, it's empty. So went and got the other one, the second one, spread it all around, get it on the ledge there too, so it'll hold the nose in, and made sure it was all even. Just want to make sure there's no bare spots so the wood doesn't creak when we step down on it. All right, the adhesive is down. I'll lay down the plywood here. As well as the nose. Right away. I decided sort of spur of the moment to add in 4 screws, one near each corner, to hold it down at least while the glue dried. I'm going to go ahead and put some weight on here as well. All I had laying around was this 3/4 inch plywood. Just trying to figure out the best way to cover all of it so there's even pressure and a pretty strong amount of pressure so it sets really well when the glue dries. Everything's glued down and set some weight on top of it. The propane tank was the heaviest thing I could think of. So yeah, we'll let that dry for a little bit and see how level we are. Hey, it's fine. So I let that dry overnight. Here I'm using a high performance wood filler by Adhering. I have another video on how to use that specifically that goes into more detail. Basically it's 1 part 1:50 ratio with an activator that allows you 15 minutes of time to actually use it before it hardens. So it hardens very quickly. That's why I'm going very fast in this sped up video. So going overboard so I can sand it down later and make sure it's perfectly smooth. All right, it says it only needs 30 minutes to cure before you can sand it. It's been a couple hours for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the 220 grit sandpaper and see what it looks like. All right, we are sanded, and this is what it looks like. So just a little seam there. I went over and made sure it was nice and smooth along the seam. I used a 220, I bumped back up to a 120 grit sandpaper, and then back down to a 220 just to make sure it was perfect. And now I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum up the dust and get some paint down. And here we are. This is what it looks like when it's finished. I used a semi-gloss black paint that I grabbed from Lowe's and went over it with a polyacrylic by Minwax with a full gloss finish. Turned out really nice. Next step will be to nail down the trim pieces once I have them exactly the way I want them, and we'll be all done. Here I'm using an 18 gauge nail gun. This is a cordless nail gun by Craftsman that is working really well. And here's the absolute finished product. This project turned out really well. It definitely took longer than I expected, as most projects do, but definitely happy with the end result. That carpet really did look weird on there. So you can see the seam really disappeared that was created with the nose and the plywood. That high performance Varathane wood filler really worked well. Definitely played to my advantage that I'm using a dark paint, but I'm really happy. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and God bless.